Hollywood is a jungle. One minute you're the hottest name on every billboard, and the next minute nobody picks up your call, not even your agent's intern. Fame here isn't gold, it's rented, and the rent is due every single day. Today we're diving into the crazy cutthroat world of Tinseltown's vanished actors, the stars who went from red carpets to permanent ghost mode. Grab your popcorn. This might get messy. Number 1, James Franco, the Hollywood golden boy who couldn't stop tripping over scandals. James Franco had everything. Oscar nominations, hit movies, a reputation as the smart, sexy artist guy. But Hollywood has a limit, and James kept poking that limit with a stick. It started with that infamous year-old fan DM in 2014. He flirted, screenshots leaked, and public opinion instantly shifted from genius actor to dud, what are you doing? Then came the bigger wave. Actresses began speaking up after his Golden Globe win for The Disaster Artist. Tweets popped up. Rumors exploded. Overnight, James went from the cool indie darling to the guy studios wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. The worst part? Even Seth Rogen, his ride or die bro in dozens of films, publicly said he wouldn't work with him anymore. Hollywood loves a comeback story. But right now, this is the guy directors avoid like a live wire. He's not officially banned, but his career is frozen in a glass case. Will he ever return? Maybe. But he'll need more than awards and artsy selfies. He'll need trust, and in this town, that's the hardest role to earn back. Number 2, Lea Michele, the Broadway princess who learned Hollywood has receipts. Lea Michele didn't fall from grace because she lacked talent. No, Lea can sing a roof off a building. The problem was everything happening off the stage. She was America's favorite overachieving diva on Glee, and ironically, behind the scenes, she allegedly behaved like one. When the Black Lives Matter wave exploded in 2020, Lea posted a supportive message. She probably thought she was doing the right thing. And then boom, former co-stars showed up in her comments like an Avengers reunion, except darker. Samantha Ware went first, accusing Lea of making her life on set miserable. Then other actors added their own, yep, same thing happened stories. Suddenly the public image of Lea Michele, the sweet, driven, lovable Rachel Berry, was replaced by a new headline. Co-workers say she wasn't so lovable. Sponsors bailed. HelloFresh dropped her faster than a hot pan. And Hollywood sent the quiet message, no matter how good your vocals are, we don't hire chaos. Lea did apologize. And to be fair, she's tried to rebuild. She even had a big stage comeback in Funny Girl on Broadway. But in Hollywood, that spotlight is still dim. Because in this industry, being talented is great, but being impossible to work with is career poison. And nothing spreads in this town faster than a bad reputation with co-stars, not even spoilers from a Marvel movie. Number 3, Elizabeth Berkley, the girl. Hollywood punished for growing up too fast. Elizabeth Berkley should have had the perfect Cinderella glow-up. She went from Saved by the Bell sweetheart to her big shot, the leading role in Showgirls. But the moment that movie hit, theaters Hollywood acted like she spit in their coffee. The NC-17 rating, the wild dance routines, critics weren't just harsh, they were savage. She went from teen idol to career ends meme overnight. The movie lost money, the press dragged her, and casting directors treated her like she carried a cinematic disease. Funny thing is, she didn't even decide the tone, or the script director Paul Verhoeven admitted later that the fault was his. But while he kept being hired, Elizabeth paid the price. Hollywood doesn't mind, but they hate when a good girl crosses their line in the wrong role. They wanted Jessie Spano soft and sweet, not a volcano. So they punished her. She never got the comeback she deserved, proving this town loves to watch a woman fall, especially after they're the ones who pushed her. Number 4. Roseanne Barr, the woman who destroyed her own empire with one tweet. Roseanne Barr wasn't just famous, she was American TV. She went from a trailer park stand-up comic to the queen of prime time. And then she did what no network executive, no ratings crash, no rival actress could do. She canceled. In 2018, Roseanne fired off one tweet with racist remarks about Valerie Jarrett, and ABC nuked her entire show overnight. Literally. They didn't discuss. They didn't warn. They pressed the red button. Boom. Gone. Roseanne blamed sleeping meds. She said Ambien made her tweet crazy stuff. Twitter laughed. Fans were stunned. Even her own co-star Sarah Gilbert publicly called her tweet abhorrent, and Roseanne swears that one response from Gilbert is what really killed everything. After that, Hollywood treated Roseanne like radioactive material. Her own son tried to hide her Twitter. Producers deleted her name off posters. The industry basically said, "We are done." The woman built an empire and lost it faster than a microwave popcorn bag explodes. The lesson. In Hollywood, your phone is more dangerous than your enemies, because one send button can erase 30 years of fame faster than any scandal ever could. Number 5, Shia LaBeouf, the wildcard who burned every bridge on the map. Shia LaBeouf could have been the next DiCaprio. He had the fame, the charm, the blockbuster credits. And then he just went full demolition mode on his own career. One night he's shooting prestige movies, the next night he's getting arrested and telling a black police officer he was being targeted because he's white. Yes, he said that. Yes, it became headline chaos. And yes, Hollywood took notes. Even after his I'm Sorry tour plus therapy plus that tiny comeback with Honey Boy and the Peanut Butter Falcon. His past came back like a boomerang, and it hit hard. When FKA Twigs filed her lawsuit. Him of SA and emotional abuse, every casting director in town slammed their door shut. Marvel allegedly considered him for a future role at one point gone. Offers gone. His phone probably only rings when Uber Eats arrives. Shia is now in that Hollywood category nobody wants to sit next to the risk. He's talented, unpredictable, brilliant self, the type who can give you an Oscar-worthy performance and burn a franchise to the ground the next week. And in this town, studios prefer boring, safe, and drama-free. Shia is none of those things, so they erased him. Number 6, Cameron Diaz, the it girl who walked away before Hollywood could fire her. Cameron Diaz wasn't banned. Hollywood didn't drag her out of the building. She literally dipped on her own. And honestly, that might be the most gangster exit in movie history. She had mega box office hits, she had every studio chasing her, and then after Annie, which flopped harder than anyone expected, she quietly decided she was done. No drama, no giant press conference. She just said, "I want peace." And she left. Of course, people love twisting stories, so rumors said Hollywood lost faith in her. Sure, some late career roles didn't land the way they used to. But Cameron Diaz wasn't sitting at home crying over casting lists. She was building her personal life, getting married, launching businesses, and enjoying a life where she didn't have to pretend to love red carpets anymore. Today she makes surprise little returns here and there, but she works on her terms, not Hollywood's. And maybe that's why they don't push her out. They secretly know she was too smart to let the industry chew her up. Cameron didn't get canceled. She retired before the game even had the chance to bench her. Number 7, Monique, the Oscar winner, who refused to play Hollywood's game. Monique didn't lose Hollywood because she wasn't talented. She won an Oscar for Precious. She delivered a performance that left audiences speechless. But instead of letting that success control her, she decided to control her own value. She refused to fly around the world promoting the film for free. She said if studios want her time, they should pay for it. And that choice was like dropping a nuclear bomb right in the center of Hollywood tradition. Suddenly, Monique wasn't labeled brilliant, she was labeled difficult. Studios whispered she wasn't a team player. Big names, the kind who run the industry, quietly moved away. Roles that were being considered for her went to other actresses. She even confronted some of the most powerful people in entertainment, and that made Hollywood even more nervous. And let's be honest, Hollywood likes outspoken, but only when it benefits them. Monique has since called out the unfairness, openly built her own fan base outside the system, and continued to tell her side of the story. She's proof that sometimes talent isn't enough. You also have to play by the unwritten rules. And Monique didn't. She stood her ground. And in a town that hates rebels more than flop movies, that's how she ended up on the outside looking in. Number 8. Dane Cook, the comedy rock star, who went from arena tours to Hollywood's no-thanks list. There was a time when Dane Cook was everywhere. Sold-out stadiums, screaming fans, mainstream movie comedies. He was basically the Taylor Swift of dude bros in the mid-2000s. Hollywood thought they found their next unstoppable comedic cash machine. And then the machine started shooting sparks. 2 back-to-back movie disasters, Employee of the Month, and Good Luck, Chuck bombed so badly, critics practically wrote apology letters to audiences. After that, the industry instantly lost confidence in him as a leading man. Then came the comedy world drama. Big comedians accused him of stealing jokes, the worst crime imaginable in stand-up. That rumor spread through Hollywood faster than a spoiler tweet. Dane tried dramatic roles, sci-fi roles, random experimental roles. Nothing worked. He even got a TV sitcom deal, and that crashed before it aired because of creative differences. Translation: the network panicked. Dane wasn't canceled, Hollywood just quietly ghosted him. And once this town decides you aren't hot anymore, they don't return your calls. Today he still performs stand-up, still has fans, still sells tickets, just not on big screens anymore. In Hollywood, fame is a wave, and Dane Cook rode his wave all the way to the top, then wiped out so hard, the studio executives still pretend they don't remember his number. Number 9. Randy Quaid, the Oscar nominee who went full conspiracy mode and never came back. Randy Quaid used to be a real actor's actor. Comedy, drama, blockbusters, he did it all. But somewhere between Hollywood success and middle age, Randy took the exit ramp straight into wild territory. It started normal enough, a lawsuit here, a weird comment there, but then the headlines began sounding like plot twists in a late-night B-movie. He and his wife got accused of skipping out on hotel bills. Then they got arrested again for living in a house they used to own. Then Randy announced that Hollywood was run by star whackers trying to destroy him. Yes, those were his words. He even tried moving to Canada and asked for asylum as if he were escaping an evil sci-fi organization. Spoiler, Canada said no. And in Hollywood, someone always talks. The entire cast of a musical he worked on claimed he was impossible to work with, and Boom Actors Equity banned him for life. That is extremely rare. You basically have to make every single person in the room miserable. So here's the real tragedy: Randy is talented. He really is. But Hollywood can forgive a box office flop, a bad review, even a weird interview. But they cannot forgive a person who turns every project into chaos. In this town, reputation is currency, and he burned his wallet. Today, his legacy is a warning sign for every actor. If you want to survive here, do not become the headline that makes directors feel nervous just reading your name. Number 10. Tobey Maguire, the quiet Spider-Man who quietly annoyed the wrong people. Tobey Maguire wasn't just Spider-Man, he defined Spider-Man. Kids had his posters, adults loved his movies, and for a few years he was basically Marvel royalty before Marvel even became Marvel. But fame is tricky because while the world saw a sweet, shy hero, Hollywood insiders whispered something very different. Behind the scenes, Tobey had a reputation for being difficult. Not screaming or throwing chairs, more like quietly demanding, stubborn, picky, and sometimes just awkward to deal with. Not the fun kind of awkward, the kind that makes producers clutch their Advil. During the peak of Spider-Man mania, Tobey had health issues and tried to rearrange filming, and studios do not love actors who try to rearrange million-dollar schedules. For a minute, they even tried to replace him. And although he apologized and returned, that moment stuck to him like web fluid. Other actors, even co-stars, hinted for years he wasn't the easiest guy to collaborate with. Slowly, studios stopped calling. Not because he did something outrageous, but because Hollywood loves easy. And Tobey wasn't that. Funny part, Tobey himself has always said he's not very charismatic, like he knows people don't find him electric off camera. And in this industry, if you don't charm the room eventually shuts the door. So now Tobey pops up here and there, occasionally producing, occasionally acting. But the era where he was the golden boy, that era is gone. Hollywood didn't cancel him with a scandal, it just quietly replaced him with actors who smile more, network more, and give less stress. Number 11. Kevin Spacey, the two-time Oscar king, who Hollywood refuses to reboot. Kevin Spacey was once the gold standard. He had Oscars prestige, and House of Cards made him the ruler of streaming TV. But when multiple misconduct allegations exploded in 2017, his empire collapsed in record speed. Netflix cut him. He was erased from a finished movie and replaced that almost never happens. One moment he was the powerful leading man, the next moment he was professionally radioactive. Even after a London court cleared him of criminal charges, Hollywood didn't suddenly open the doors again. Studios don't want confusion, controversy, or headlines they can't control. They want clean PR and quiet sets, and Kevin's name still makes producers sweat. Sure, he can maybe find work overseas or in tiny indie circles. But in Hollywood, the ship has sailed, sunk, and the ocean floor has already grown moss over it. He once said he hopes to return one day, and maybe he will, but at this moment every sign from the industry screams the same brutal truth: fame can vanish faster than a plot twist in a thriller. And Kevin Spacey is now the ultimate example of how Hollywood can shut a door and refuse to ever unlock it again. Number 12. Wesley Snipes, the action superstar who fought everyone except his own career problems. Wesley Snipes was once the guy. He had charisma. He had martial arts. He had blade shades. He literally helped launch the modern superhero era, before Marvel became a universe of billions. But Hollywood isn't a gym. You don't get extra respect for having muscles. You get respect for being easy money. And Wesley, unfortunately, became the opposite. He spoke loudly about how Hollywood treated minority actors. He turned down sequels he was offered, and he said no to projects that would have kept him hot. Then came the legal drama and the public chaos. Instead of blockbuster premieres, his name started landing in headlines that made studios nervous. The town quietly decided he was too unpredictable, too complicated, too much work. He wasn't dangerous, he was just exhausting. And executives do not bet millions on exhausting. That's why his career shifted from global action star status into occasional surprise cameo. Wesley is still talented, still a legend, still a fan favorite, but in the brutal math of Hollywood, reputation is the currency. And when your reputation becomes, "This guy is going to stress out the entire production," nobody wants to swipe the card. Wesley Snipes didn't get banned in a courtroom, he got banned in boardrooms. Number 13. Lindsay Lohan, the teen queen, who Hollywood put on timeout. Lindsay Lohan was supposed to be the next big Lifetime superstar. She had the acting chops, she had Disney megastar fame, she had the Mean Girls lightning strike. She was on track to become the new Julia Roberts. But Hollywood has one golden rule: if you want to stay at the top, you have to show up to work. And Lindsay didn't. She wasn't evil, she wasn't a monster, she was just wildly unreliable. Showing up late, missing call times, not being prepared. After a while, studios began to see her as a financial risk. Movie sets cost hundreds of thousands of dollars per day. When one actor crashes the schedule, everybody pays. Things got so wild that even Jane Fonda legend Jane Fonda had to personally talk to her on set and tell her to get it together. And the public began tracking her mess almost like it was a sport. Every comeback attempt had promise until the same patterns showed up again. Hollywood isn't heartless, but it is business. If the math doesn't work, the industry moves on. Years later, Lindsay is doing better acting again here and there, and even starring in Netflix movies. She's healthier and more stable, and people actually want to root for her. But the reason she's not back at that A-list throne has nothing to do with talent and everything to do with those years when she couldn't keep the studio schedule on track. In this town, time really is money, and she learned it the hard way. Number 14. Bill Cosby, the former TV father figure Hollywood will never risk again. There was a time when Bill Cosby was treated like America's favorite dad. People trusted him. Families watched him together. He was a cultural symbol. But when dozens of women came forward accusing him of misconduct, that entire image exploded like a firecracker in a quiet church. Even though he was later released on a legal technicality, Hollywood didn't suddenly forget everything. They just quietly made a choice: this man will never headline anything here again. Studios don't gamble with public trust. They don't care how big your legacy used to be, they care how toxic your name is right now. Bill Cosby's reputation became the exact opposite of family entertainment. Every major network, every brand, every talk show, every agency, all took 10 steps back and closed every window. Even PR experts said no mainstream studio would risk working with him ever again. So yes, he is technically free. Yes, he can speak publicly if he wants. But the Hollywood version of him is permanently gone. And that famous sweater-wearing dad from TV, that character does not exist anymore. In this business, when your public image becomes a ticking bomb, nobody wants to be standing next to you when it goes off. Bill Cosby didn't just lose roles, he lost the one thing Hollywood cares about more than talent audience trust. Number 15. Stacey Dash, the 90s fashion queen who became too political for Hollywood. Stacey Dash will forever be remembered as the stylish, sharp-tongued icon from Clueless. She was gorgeous. She was funny. She had the vibe of a girl who'd rule Hollywood for decades. But then Stacey switched lanes hard. Instead of sticking with roles and red carpets, she suddenly became a political commentator, picking sides in the loudest way possible. And Hollywood. Hollywood hates when actors mix career with political firecrackers that could burn studio money. When she joined Fox News, her entire image shifted. Fans didn't know what to do. Executives didn't know what to do. One day, she was the charming 90s sweetheart. The next day, she was making controversial statements live on cable news. Add in her public fights with other celebrities, her comments about activism, and her appearances in super divisive projects, and Hollywood quietly tossed her out of the safe casting zone. Here's the funny part: Stacey never actually committed any major crime she didn't destroy, a set she didn't ruin productions. She just became way too explosive for studio PR teams to comfortably protect. And in Hollywood, being too risky is a total career killer. Studios don't like political grenades. They like actors who smile on set, say thank you, and don't make the marketing department sweat. Stacey Dash didn't break Hollywood rules. She broke Hollywood comfort. And they slammed the door the second she did. Number 16, Megan Fox, the bombshell, who called out the wrong director. Megan Fox was a pop culture earthquake. After Transformers, every magazine wanted her face. Every studio wanted her name on their poster. She was that star. But Hollywood is like high school with millions of dollars. Say the wrong sentence to the wrong person, and suddenly the cafeteria table is empty. Megan made one comparison in an interview where she criticized director Michael Bay, and boom, Steven Spielberg himself got involved, and she was quietly removed from the franchise that made her famous. From that moment, Megan went from next big thing to maybe not worth the drama. Suddenly, she wasn't getting the same blockbuster scripts. Suddenly, the internet wasn't talking about the character she played. They were talking about how she spoke out. And here's the fun twist. Years later, Megan said she didn't hate Michael. She just hated being treated like a prop whose only job was to be hot. That actually made thousands of women in Hollywood go, "Yep, relatable." Megan wasn't banned. Nobody sent her a letter saying you're fired forever. But Hollywood doesn't operate with paperwork. They operate with silence. Fewer offers, less interest. Casting directors move on to someone who causes less attention. And while she rebuilt her career in her own way, that original moment proves something brutal in this town. Speaking your mind is allowed, but there's always a price tag attached. Number 17. Armie Hammer, the handsome prince who Hollywood erased overnight. Armie Hammer walked into Hollywood looking like he was carved by a Greek sculptor. Tall, charming, rich, 2 roles in The Social Network, he was supposed to be the next George Clooney. Then 2021 happened. Screenshots, allegations, leaked messages, the internet went nuclear. Studios panicked. He was dropped by his agent, his publicist, and every movie he was attached to suddenly went in another direction. In Hollywood language, that means we don't want this smoke. Even though prosecutors eventually chose not to move forward due to lack of evidence, the damage was already done. PR reputation in Hollywood is like glass. Once it cracks, you can glue it back, but it will never look the same. Armie went from red carpets to trending topics for the worst reasons. And the brutal truth, studios care less about innocence or guilt. They care about how expensive the PR cleanup is. And Armie became too expensive. So he left acting altogether and tried regular life jobs. And that's the final proof that in Hollywood, fame is fragile. It doesn't matter how good you look, how rich your family is, or how promising your career was. One giant PR fire, even before courts say anything can shut down an entire future. Armie Hammer didn't get a graceful exit. He got yoinked out of the room mid-sentence. Number 18, Mira Sorvino, the Oscar winner, punished because she said no to the wrong man. Mira Sorvino should have had a flawless Hollywood career. She had beauty, talent, charisma, and an Oscar. She was built for legendary status. But the moment she rejected Harvey Weinstein's creepy advances back in the 90s, her career suddenly slowed down, like someone slammed the brakes. Mira didn't know it at the time, but she wasn't just turning down a producer, she was turning down a man who controlled entire casting lists. Directors later revealed that Harvey literally told studios and filmmakers not to hire her, calling her difficult. Peter Jackson even confirmed that when he was casting Lord of the Rings, Miramax warned him to avoid Mira, and that one sabotage move changed the direction of her life. Suddenly, she wasn't getting major scripts. Roles went to other actresses, And Hollywood did what Hollywood does best, pretend it never happened. Years later, when the Me Too movement exploded, Mira finally told the world the truth. Everything she had suspected was real. She didn't fade. She was blocked. Harvey's power was the secret knife that cut her career path short. And the most disturbing part, she wasn't the only one, just one of the few who finally spoke up. The irony: Mira never lost her talent. She just lost access. Hollywood didn't blacklist her because she wasn't good enough. Hollywood blacklisted her because she defended her boundaries. In any other job, that would be called integrity. In this business, it nearly cost her everything. Hollywood didn't blacklist her because she wasn't good enough. Hollywood blacklisted her because she defended her boundaries. In any other job, that would be called integrity. In this business, it nearly cost her everything.